Well, welcome to the Vimeo part of the card reading to do with Maggie's letter about whether she should feel unfair and biased towards the fact that she can't, she's making this demand about wanting to buy her home. And for this is actually a reading for anybody who is in a stalemate or a situation where you want something that's quite big in your relationship and your partner actually wants something completely different. But the question from the vlog on the YouTube was, he refuses to buy a home with me and am I being unfair? So what I've done today, which is kind of slightly different, firstly I've got the camera in a different format. My partner says that I should actually be on the camera rather than it being just on the cards, so I'm exploring here and I'm just doing a different format. The second thing I've done differently as well is I've pre-shuffled the cards and I've also pre-pulled them, and there is obviously a snapshot that you saw of the actual card reading. I've kept the Sacred Rebel card, which I will shuffle at the end as an extra message and a clarifier for the viewer and for Maggie. But I'll go ahead and start with the reading. And what's interesting is the overarching clarification card, which is what I asked from my Chuck Spezzano card, and they're called the Enlightenment cards, Enlightenment, is holding on. Okay, so here we are with the three main chakra colors, as well as you can see the orange, red and yellow, which are the three areas I feel that are very dominant, which is what I specified in the vlog, that there are areas that possibly need working with and healing and modifying and strengthening and rebalancing. But with this card tells me about the holding on within the relationship is we can get into this is the overarching, and what you're doing, Maggie, here, and anybody in a situation that really wants something, and we all do it, this is quite natural. Okay, so this is not about judgment or blaming yourself or thinking that you're doing anything badly, is that you are holding on to the idea of the relationship, and you're holding on to how you think that in order for the relationship to have a happy future together, all right, or have a future even together, is the fact that it has to be a certain way. And sometimes subconsciously, without even realizing, we could actually be doing that in order to hold on to a partner. So maybe there is something that makes you feel a bit insecure about your current status of your relationship, that is wanting you to secure the relationship by buying the house together and insisting that it has to be a buying thing right now, in order to maybe hold on to the relationship. So this is just something to hold on to, something to think about and to explore. But I'm going to go ahead and give you the rest of the card reading. And today I also used the deck, which is called the chakra deck, and it's a wisdom oracle with the different chakras. It's quite a different card deck, but it's also full of imagery, which I find I quite like to explore and translate, and I've used that as my main top cards, and then I've gone to use the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reid, which I think also are really lovely cards for this reading. So I'm going to start in the first two that I pulled out, or in the first row. The first one I actually pulled out was this card from the chakra deck, and from the imagery what I see is a woman who's sitting there and her land around her is quite barren. So this is what's brought you to the situation for you to write to me, all right? And I feel that in some way with this card you're very much feeling unnourished. Okay, you're so deep in thought about what you want. You're so that in fact you're allowing the situation to cloud your sense of joy and a sense of you've got all the trees are quite barren here and things are falling around you, in a sense that they're almost a sort of a winter time. There's a sense of barrenness to the situation. Okay, and sometimes when we do that we can really get quite stagnant. There's a sense of density, a sense of fear, a sense of lack of security, a sense of all these things that you actually probably feel that you won't have the sense of security or sense of growth. So if you're not careful, what's bringing it is you are not allowing the relationship to grow as it needs to. And this is interesting, a root chakra color. What supports it underneath is I suggest you do take up some meditation, also just go out and do some breath work. And if you actually really look close, there's an image right in the heart of that card where there's a sense of true self within yourself. Now those together I think are really beautiful contrasting cards. One at the opposite end of the scale, the red and the blue, are primary colors, and they're the opposites in the primary sphere of the colour wheel. It is really important for you, I think, to bring some blue light and start channeling that into you, and just know that you're being provided, that there's something much more and greater than you that you might not be able to imagine. By just sitting with yourself though, you're able to bring the vision, if you like, to the space. Okay, so I recommend that you bring, this is the card that's supporting that complacency. Okay, the top row, which is the cards which I'll now put again back on the screen, are the cards that inform me of the passage of where you're going, and the bottom cards are the supporting cards related to the order of the cards. The second card, which is also interesting here for me, is there's a sense of you need to balance your idea. We've got a woman holding a pail of paints, 2 colors, and there's a classic, this is where you're now, which is the contradiction, the sense of imbalance that you feel. One is a pot of paint blue and the other one's pink, and this is exactly where you're at. Your boyfriend doesn't want to buy a house and you do. So this is a situation you're in, which is very much, but I feel like it's something you're not able to see the full picture right now, and you're allowing that to color your sense of point of view. And I think you need to do is you need to take a step back and be impartial, more neutral about the whole situation. Really, really important for you to be able to kind of balance the situation, find some stability in your ideas, find some stability back in your home life, because I'm sure that has had some effect. Because the card that follows after that is you have a very strong, this is one of the cards that you need to look at and perhaps move away from, which is the card of perfection. Yes, your vision is so strong that you're looking almost for the perfect raspberry, the perfect scenario, in order to be able to feel fulfilled. And there's no such thing as perfection, as we know. And life is going to be full of, little nuggets of things that are not going to be quite right. And the danger is, with that, you are removing yourself, which is a card beneath you, from the here and now. And so this card informs me that you need to get back to the root of the situation, as in your life and yourself, and stay present. If you keep on projecting that you want a house and this is not right, that you are actually going to end up removing yourself from the present. The present will allow yourself to also reveal behind what's the closed door. You can also see, if I can maybe move that back, there are 2 signposts, one's in the past and one in the future. And when we don't stay in the now, we tend to sort of distort the future by not being happy with where we're now, and we also distort or bring our baggage in from the past that distorts the current situation, which is also you distorting where you're now. Instead of really seeing everything as maybe even being perfect as it is, you're projecting the idea of getting a house or whatever it might be that will make your life perfect. Okay, which is really interesting as well, because it's followed by the card of trickery, which also is an illusion. There you are, you've got this big green dragon and the squirrel, and the tail behind here is the squirrel is hiding the acorns underneath, rather some pebbles, so the underlined agenda for some acorns from the dragon. And also I feel that there's that kind of imbalance, maybe where you actually sort of see your partner as being the dragon and you being the squirrel, and therefore imbalancing, and there's some kind of manipulation going on in the relationship. Perhaps you really need to see what you've got. Okay, this is also very heart chakra related. But that said, I would actually look at, perhaps instead of trying to manipulate the situation, which is to sort of say, well, we can't have a future together if we don't buy a house now. That is a sense of manipulation and also a sense of trickery, because of course we know that's not true. What's underneath that card was the yin card, which is actually a very feminine card of being receptive. Now, when women tend to get over controlling, and in the guise of empowering yourself sometimes or taking the lead, you don't actually allow for true leadership, which is for you to be actually receptive. Perhaps you need to allow for you to receive the love that you really crave for, instead of actually, because this yin is very much about the receptive feminine, but it's slightly upside down, which informs me that you may be taking too much charge and you're not allowing to receive. And it's not only necessarily receiving from your partner, that the support that you want to get, but perhaps being more open to receiving from the universe. And you have to trust. One of the cards I didn't show you earlier on was this card, okay, which was actually underneath the second card. What I feel with this card is telling me the treasure island is, you see, it's a tortoise. You know, keep your visions alive. You know, carry that with you. You know, but take your time. The tortoise is not in a hurry to swim speedily. It's not a fast-moving fish, but a very powerful mammal, rather reptile, an animal in the sea. But here you can see that he is, or she is, carrying this wonderment of ideas. There's a whole lot of treasure, a whole lot of things, allowing it to be manifested. Okay, so instead of thinking it has to be this or that, why don't you actually trust that magic is happening as you engage in the here and now? All right, because that's how it works. We sometimes try and control life so much, or decide that we have to have it at a certain time, and what happens is that we are forcing the issue, which also then causes a lot more of this. Okay, a sense of lack of femininity, commanding, demanding, nagging, very sort of right? And here, this is a kind of like the trickery, which happens in relationships. Well, if you don't do this, I'm not going to love you. If you don't do this, I'm leaving your relationship because I don't have what I want. All right, so it is a real question of how can I step up and turn back and actually bring my feminine aspect, so I can really receive the fullness of life, receive the fullness of my relationship in a way that it is here, in the here and now, without actually having to fear what is coming up. What's really lovely actually is there were two kind of extra additional cards, because I felt that the cards really wanted to inform me beyond the 8 cards I pulled up, 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom. And the fourth card I thought was really lovely, because here we are. This is a card of abundance, Maggie, you can see. So maybe perhaps it is, as I suggested, that you actually start empowering yourself by keeping your vision alive, not forgetting what you want or what it is that you're striving for, but maybe taking your time and putting certain things in place. Like if you actually look, there are coins being added, being saved. This is a treasure chest, which also reflects this color of the treasure island. Yeah, you know, we can still continue to thrive towards our dreams, but in a different way, maybe not getting it immediately, like this man who's suddenly feeling lost at the fact that, oh, well, I haven't got what I want, and is feeling distraught. Instead, there's a sense of playfulness, a sense of stability being grown by actually saving your coins. And interestingly enough, right at the back here, if you can really see, there is a house. Okay, but this girl actually is being playful. And the tail of this card actually is the man loses the coin in the drain, and it is freaking out. So that's about, like, metaphorically, you know, the ideas have gone down the pan. But instead, she is very smart and creative and thinking about, well, how can I start building on that? So she actually gets a little glue or a magnet or whatever it is to pull and fish out the coin that seems to have been lost, but is actually cultivating it on it and building her treasure, and actually the hope of a house, which is what you see. So this is a really brilliant card to end on for that line, because this informs me that there is prospect for you to actually definitely be creating the abundant life that you want. You will get your home definitely in a way that I think is shaped, perhaps not in the timing and the way you see yourself right now, which is where we started off with. But underneath the abundance card there, so just that one again quickly, is the co-creating card. Now this, to me, it has 2 expressions and 2 definite meanings, defined definitions is what I wanted to say. It's to co-create with a bigger, higher power. All right, that you can't do this on your own necessarily, but so you have to call on higher power, which is also this card, about going inward and praying, and then calling in the power that you need, and the sense of stability and the sense of power, in order to bring something to fruition with the divine, with providence, and with great mystery. But also on a more practical and earthly level, here you have an opportunity to actually co-create what you dream and what you want to bring into light with your partner. Okay, this is a real lovely card of co-creating, getting together, getting to do things together. Now, if you actually really look even closer, there's an owl on that tightrope, or that little beam that goes across. to me that signifies an owl never moves. They're very sharp in their sense of timing, okay, to get their prey, as with also the leopard or the cheetah. Now we can say the leopard don't change their spots, and perhaps at the moment your partner's not willing to do that, but there's a sense of timing, a big sense of wisdom and insight and intelligence that requires to co-create, which is also really lovely because there's actually an egg at the bottom, which is also very metaphorical, symbolic of something birthing. But I do feel, according to your reading, there's a real great promise of you both actually being able to bring something together. But I would recommend that in the meantime, you start, or both of you start saving, keep on saving the money, you know, so instead of actually, why don't you try out that you can actually put the money away towards your mortgage. So maybe having a bit less fun right now, but you're actually putting the money towards building your dream, which I believe will come to fruition very much in the here and now. And the overarching thing and message for you is actually not to hold on so tight. All right? And this is for anybody. Anything, sometimes we can all want something. You know, I've been in that situation as well when I've wanted actually my partner to come on board with me about something, and I can get very frustrated because I'm holding to the idea that it has to be now or it has to be my way, otherwise it's the highway, which is never really the greatest thing to think about, or even sabotage a very beautiful and a potentially growing relationship. So just for a little bonus, this is the Sacred Rebel card, as I promised. And I'm going to ask the Sacred Rebel card what card would be, or what message can we have right now to support or to give you the gift of what you need to know. Okay, wonderful. God, that's great. Really, really great. So the card that popped out here is collaborative dreaming. Okay, so this is really beautiful. This is about, again, the same, very similar to co-creating. All right, this is about you joining forces with the people who really want to collaborate with you. And this is not to say that you and your partner are not collaborating together, but this is very much about maybe you both can start dreaming up the kind of time, the kind of lifestyle, the kind of home you want to have, and still bringing that dream into effect, and not to give up on your hopes. Yes, you know, calling in the third eye. Here we have also a beautiful light on that forehead there. So be the spark of inspiration and call in all the ideas, and maybe start cultivating, you know, creating a sense of abundance in your treasure of ideas, you know, here as well, that where you can actually start manifesting the exact house that you might want to have, and start preparing from there and getting off the idea that your life is not perfect. Yes, and trying to trick your partner, or you trick your own self to thinking that this is not going to be a fruitful relationship, or a relationship with a future, because you're being too small-minded at the moment and not taking the fact that you've got to take various factors in, and there's two of you in this relationship. But allow the truth of this collaboration to happen. So for me, this very much also, as an added bonus to your reading, really informs me that you have a great opportunity here to actually fulfill and manifest your dreams together, and invest in the time to do so. I'm going to have a quick look to see if there's anything else from that last card that might help. Yeah, so just basically to continue creating a win-win situation, which is a key word that just sprung out to here. Your collaborative dreaming is heart-inspired, win-win, bringing mutual enhancement to yourself and others. So really bring that into the space for you, creating this lovely dream of yours, whatever that may be. In your case, a home, but for somebody else, it could be a car, it could be a move, or anywhere else. And just trust that your heart is guiding you, but do not get your head in the way, and allow the heart to lead. And don't forget that the whole essence of your relationship is the most important thing, and let the rest follow. So I hope this card reading really helped. I do say keep your dreams intact, keep on putting some plan together, some ideas together, stay calm. If you find yourself getting het up about everything, just sit on a cushion mat or go outdoors and just take some deep breaths. Don't end up falling out and arguing with your partner about it. Don't destroy the relationship about forcing the issue and holding on. I would suggest that you basically just trust that together you can co-create, both with the divine and your partnership, 2 cards that confirm that, and just know that you will be manifesting your dream home and your abundant life. So this is it. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope that you liked this card reading, and so it is. Bye for now.